On the 7th anniversary of Marvin Booker's death, his family is asking the Denver District Attorney, Beth McCann, to reopen the investigation. Booker died at the downtown Denver detention facility in 2010 while under the custody of the Sheriff's Department. Meanwhile, as the number of violent incidents are on the rise at the jail, another individual was killed this week following a fight with another inmate. Penn, none of this stuff is easy to tackle, and we've seen a new administration take over, new sheriff, so I think we've seen some progress, but do incidents like this point to more work to be done?
Oh, absolutely. This is a systemic failure within city government that we've talked about through administrations. When you talk about the Booker case, remember, this is the homeless street preacher who died because 5 sheriffs were on him, quote unquote, detaining him while he was in the facility. Then he got tased and ended up dead. And the reason his family's asking to have this investigation reopened is there is a question whether the taser that was submitted and examined was actually the one used on him. And the belief is that they were intentionally switched because had the correct taser been looked at, it would have shown that whoever operated it used it for far longer than they should have under the circumstances. You know, the tough thing government has is when you lose the credibility and support of the community, you've got no place to go. And that's part of what's been happening with law enforcement here for a while. Even though we have body cams, even though we have an independent monitor, we have seen so many of these lawsuits and so many settlements around circumstances and events that never should have happened. And so my hope is that the DA reopens to at least investigate whether the allegation of swapped out tasers is correct, because you've got to rebuild some credibility with the community, and that helps law enforcement also. But you've got to rebuild that credibility with the community, or you just have no hope.
Ben, Beth McCann talked pretty tough on the campaign trail last year about being willing to prosecute cases. That was a big issue in the campaign. When she looks at this case, do you see a reopening in the future?
Well, as Penn said, I think the issue at hand is a pretty serious one. The notion of covering up or falsifying evidence is a pretty serious allegation. And I think, I think Beth should reopen it, particularly if there's reasonable evidence that suggests that that is what happened. And I think, frankly, it's another example of where the mayor and the administration continues to sort of try and wave their hand over here so that you don't look at the problems over here, because they have continually swung and missed at trying to deal with these issues effectively.
Patty, from what we've seen so far, do you think it's likely that DA McCann will reopen this case?
I am guessing she won't, because the evidence is always that those cases aren't reopened or people aren't charged. But it's interesting to remember that Denver voted to build this new Justice Center, and one of the reasons was for more safety, because the old facility out at Smith Road wasn't supposed to be so safe. So almost 7 years to the day of Marvin Booker's death, another inmate was killed by an inmate on Sunday night or Monday at the Denver jail. No charges are going to be pressed. Supposedly it was a mutual fight, but still, if that's going on, something is not going right at the jail.
David, wrap it up for us.
There are data saying that there are more violent incidents reported now at the Denver jail than in the past. I don't think that's because there actually are more violent incidents. I think it's actually that Sheriff Fineman is leading the deputies to be more responsible about reporting all possible incidents, and that is a constructive step forward.